session. So we're just doing a mic check to make sure that they can hear me and my team. Okay? Are we getting ready for this? We're so excited to be here. Uh,
One, two, two, two.
How about now? All right, there we go. Woohoo! Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our International Health 2.0 conference. It is so great to be here. It is so great to see you all. Quick question. How many of you have been to this conference before, whether here in Las Vegas or Dubai? Show of hands. All right, we got a handful. Welcome back. Not your first rodeo. I like it. How many of you, then I'm going to see a lot of hands. How many of you, this is your very first time to Health 2.0? All right, fantastic, guys. My name is Melissa. I will be your MC for the next few days on this journey with you. I have been emceeing this event for the last couple of years now, and I can tell you it is just a fantastic event. Every year I come out with just so much new knowledge and insight, some great connections made, new friendships, and it's just a really wonderful time. And hey, the food's good too. So you are in for an awesome couple of days. We're so glad to have you here. Want to remind you, of course, one of the many wonderful things about being here in Las Vegas is taking awesome selfies. And besides the $1.99 buffet that you can, for some reason, still get downtown, is maximizing your exposure here, right? Whether you're going to be receiving an award, doing a keynote, being part of a panel, we encourage you to post all of it and share with your colleagues and friends back home. And we encourage you to please use the hashtag health, the number two, CONF, especially on LinkedIn, where I know most of you are. And you know what else is great about this? This is a great way to show, especially some of your spouses at home, you really are at a health conference in Las Vegas, right? It's not just a health conference in Las Vegas. You're actually here. That's going to be your proof. So, our March edition has a well thought out and carefully picked agenda that promises to delve deep into the latest trends, technologies, and innovations in the healthcare sector. Expect a series of keynotes, as we said, panel discussions, and fireside chats led by some of the most influential leaders and innovators in the industry. For this, we are extremely lucky to have the support of our Flow Patterns and our bronze sponsor, Zani's Health and Fitness. A huge round of applause for them. Are you at Zani's? You know what? I don't think you're coming up just yet, but I want to give you a round of applause right here. Our bronze sponsor. We are going to have you up soon. With this, I would like. We're going to do just a quick, speedy networking. And again, you're going to have lots of opportunity to chat and connect, I promise. But real quick, let's do a little icebreaker. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Turn to the person next to you, say hello, talk about where you're from. Have fun. Go for it. Make a new friend. All right, guys, we got about 15 more seconds to wrap it up. Tell your new friends that you will talk to them soon. All right, great. Guys, want to remind you if you do need to run to the restroom, want to grab some water, we have easy access right here. I have never been this close to the lunchroom. I'm so excited. And you will be too during lunchtime. So with this, I'd like to begin a round of engaging sessions. I'd like to remind you again that you can catch up on the Health 2.0 conferences happenings on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So let's get to it. In a landscape where the quality of healthcare often correlates with financial wealth, our first session aims to bridge the divide, ensuring that everyone, everywhere, has access to the best medical care without the burden of exorbitant costs. Please give a huge round of applause for our first session's moderator, Livia Mitchell, founder of Liv Speaks, and our esteemed panelists.
Affordable health care is a hot topic, very hot topic. From knowing that your child may have cancer and wondering if you have to go to the Jude's Hospital, to knowing that your grandmother might need an assisted living and knowing that without benefits, she may not be able to pay for it. Affordable health care is a hot topic in America. It is my pleasure to call upon my panelists. They are the best in their industry, and it is my honor and a blessing to me to call upon my esteemed and loving team. So please help me welcome. I have to make sure that I don't have my glasses, but I think I can do this, right? My first panelist is Jeff Hutchinson, MD. He is the CEO of Wade Alliance. Yeah. My next family member is our Dr. Adem Ising. Please help me welcome her. And she is the founder and CEO, Sunny Therapist. Okay. Next, we have our wonderful Ann Carr, and she is a board member of Common Courtesy Inc. Please help me welcome her. And we are going to round this out with Dr. Dale Holly. He is a physician, a partner physician, board certified gastroenterologist, United Digestive. Okay. This is my favorite part. We call it the thrill and grill. So we're going to ask questions, and our panelists are going to answer your questions. So we are going to start understanding the concern with healthcare. What do you do, and how does it lessen the cost of healthcare, Miss Ann Carr?
Me? Okay. Hello. How are you? Should I sit down or stand up?
Whatever makes you
I'll
comfortable.
just sit. Um, I'm so excited to be here. My name is Ann Carr, and together with my husband, Bob Carr, who's speaking tomorrow, we started a nonprofit a number of years ago, and the name of it is Common Courtesy. And what it is transportation uh, for anyone who cannot or should not drive. And to date, we've done over 700,000 rides to hospitals, medical groups, county, senior services, and the likes of that. Basically, we are in Atlanta, Georgia, but we can operate anywhere. Um, so there you have it.
And the question is, what do you do, and how does it lessen the cost of healthcare? So, how do you suggest?
Me?
Yes.
Okay.
How do you suggest?
Okay. Well, so that's what we do, and how it lessens the cost. This is huge. I'm going to give you an example. Hospitals, we had a particular hospital that was trying to discharge a gentleman, and he lived 100 miles away, and no one would come and get him. And so they had a real situation. They did some research, and here's the research. They could hire a emergency vehicle, an ambulance, to take him home, and the cost was going to be $4,500. They checked the next, they could get a taxi to come and get this gentleman, take him home, and that charge was going to be $1,750. Or, oh, sorry. Yes, I wasn't supposed to do that. I wanted to make sure you were awake because here's the big line. Or you could call common courtesy and we could get this gentleman 112 miles away, and the charge was $149.50, basically. So right there, it's sensible, it works, it's easy, it's it's just what we do, and we're so blessed to have evolved this over time.
Thank you so much for answering
Well,
that
yours.
question.
Thank you.
In America, in many countries, because it is very different about healthcare. In America, though, do we view healthcare as a privilege or a right? Or Dr. Dale Holly?
Yeah, I think that's really the question for the day for the country. First of all, thank you all for having me. It's an extreme privilege and honor to be here with you today. But I really think that that really to me is that's kind of the seminal question is healthcare a privilege or a right? I think up until this point, healthcare has been a privilege, and we need to change that. We need to make it a right. And what I mean is the framers of the Constitution basically, when they put the Constitution together, said that we are all endowed with a certain inalienable rights, that being life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You cannot achieve life, liberty, or pursuit of happiness if you don't have your health. And so I think we really need to change how we look at it, the optics of health, and what does that mean? And we need to take it seriously. Every human being should have access to health care, regardless of socioeconomic status, ethnicity, origin. This is really a critical issue for the day. And so I think if we approach it from the standpoint that healthcare is a right and we invest appropriately, we change the dynamic, we change the paradigm, we change outcomes, we improve quality, we obviously provide accessibility, we can make it affordable. We can. It's hard work. Healthcare is difficult. There's a reason that we haven't had universal healthcare because of the challenges and the complexities and the comprehensive way in which we have to approach this makes it really, really challenging. But I believe in ingenuity, innovation, hard work, commitment, compassion, and most importantly, empathy and love for one another. I think if we use those principles, we change the dynamic. We make it a right, and we can change the course of the planet. We really can, because that's what it needs to be. It has to be a right. It has to be a right. That way, we can positively impact society. Because without it, tremendous burden is put on the healthcare system when people don't have access, that it can't afford it. Outcomes are worse. And I think if you look at our system in this country, we're spending 18% of gross domestic product on healthcare. Yet we have a poor delivery system, and our outcomes are some of the worst in the world. So I think we have to ask ourselves, given what we've done thus far, we know that this example that we now have has not worked. So we have to have the courage to change. And it takes courage to change. It takes hard work. It's rethinking how we do something, facing those challenges. But if we do it, we commit to it, I'm convinced. I'm an optimist. I believe we can change the world through healthcare. That's the kind of impact it could have.
Thank you very much. We're going to get a little bit of old school. What is the indigenous medicine and how does it contribute to affordable health care? I'll ask our Dr. Adem Singh.
Thank you. Can y'all hear me?
We can.
So I'm just gonna correct my name because I've for 30 years I've let people say my name incorrectly. So my name is Dr. Udom. I am CEO and founder of Sunny Therapeutics and founder of the Ufanima Institute, which is a nonprofit based in Nigeria and Washington, D.C. I have had the privilege for the last 10 years to see healthcare in different lenses from the American perspective and as an immigrant and a Nigerian from those perspectives. And I agree with everything that you said, Doctor. It is rough, not only as a clinician, but also as someone who participates in the healthcare system. And so the last couple of years, thank you, pandemic, I know some people I am grateful to COVID because I woke up to the ways in which this country still does not live up to quote unquote the American dream. And so my practice, I'm a doctor of physical therapy, but I have incorporated indigenous medicine practices from my country, from China, and from all over the world because that is preventative medicine. That is where we need to return to and what we need to incorporate. And those things were not taught to me in physical therapy school. And so I struggled and I bounced around from hospital to clinic and outpatients and tried to figure out, like, why is this not working? Why are my patients not getting better? Why am I seeing the same return visitors every 6 months like clockwork? It didn't make sense to me. And I'm optimistic and I'm like, yay, America, I'm here, I'm gonna do this thing. And I'm like, oh, it's hard out here. Like it's really, really hard. And I wanted to be the change that I did not see. I didn't see any of those practices. And a lot of the hospitals, we weren't asking, our clients what their religion was or what their sex or what their gender was or how they wanted to be identified. And that is not patient care. You're not getting to know who is sitting and standing in front of you or laying in front of you because you don't know truly who they are and how you can assist them. So for me, indigenous medicine is truly important and it needs to be incorporated in the education system so that we can provide like true preventative care. Indigenous, it's literally knowledge passed down from ancestors and generation to generation. It's the oh, let me get you some Robitussin when you're sick. It's my mom, she used this charcoal, which I can't think of the name right now when I was younger, my twin brother and I, for eczema, and it cleared us up in 2 months. And so it's things like that, knowledge like that, that we are not really incorporating. And I feel like it needs to be in all sectors, no matter, if you're a physical therapist or a physician or, if you're a if anybody, because knowledge is power. And for me, indigenous medicine and returning to our roots is key for improving and bettering healthcare for all.
Thank you for that. What policy would you change to increase availability and improve the health economics? Mr. Mr. Dr. Dale Hutchinson.
All right. Thank you for the question. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. In order for me to answer that question, I think you need to know a little bit about me. Ultimately, the answer is until we put purpose and people ahead of profit, healthcare is not going to change.
Mhm.
So the reason I say that is I'm a West Point graduate. I spent 25 years in the military. My medical school was in San Francisco during the AIDS crisis. And over those 25 years, I went to different countries. I saw combat. I took care of people, whoever walked through my door. And now I'm working in Austin in a FQHC, a federally qualified health center, taking care of people who have either no insurance or very little insurance. So my whole career has been about taking care of people, and that's been the purpose. And I really do believe that until we face that, until we have more organizations that put people first, healthcare is not going to change. Profit is still going to rule the way. So the policy that I would change, actually, there's so many of them, but the one I think is the lowest hanging fruit. Well, the hardest one is universal health care. And military is socialized medicine. Anybody who comes to be seen can be seen, doesn't matter your rank, your purpose. Anyone in the military is seen. That's socialized medicine. We have to acknowledge that. That's the big one. The small one that we can start attacking, if you want to do it piece by piece, has to do with our drug system. We in the US feel very privileged and entitled to have what we want. But working in the military, I only had so many medicines I could prescribe. There are 5 different proton pump inhibitors, medicines for heartburn. Why do I need 5 options? It's not up to the insurers to decide what medicine should be. It should be up to the providers, whether it is in the hospital or that health system or nationally. That is probably the best policy that I would recommend that could decrease cost if we just eliminate the options and let physicians and healthcare people decide. If we could let pharmacists, when a patient comes up, they see they have a prescription and they say, well, here's a cheaper option for you, let me change it, that would make a huge difference. But instead, physicians, and I'm one of the group, we don't want to give up that power. So we have to decide as a group that if we're going to change the way that we take care of people, we have to put the people first.
Thank you for that. Before we go ahead and do Q&A, I wanted to say a few things. So here I am a speaker, but I'm also a healthcare provider. In my industry, which is mainly hospice and elderly geriatric care, I decided to get my doctor's degree in holistic medicine. But my school was in jeopardy because of the government saying that we who are in holistic medicine are quacks, that we should not be doctors. So I am actually a doctor, but I cannot say that because it was a holistic school. So I would like to ask our panelists, how do you feel about the medium of Chinese medicine, other holistic forms, Ayurvedic, all of that, which would be a part of the affordable healthcare plan, in my opinion. What is your opinion on the topic? So I will go ahead with you
Yeah,
first.
I'll start. I have patients regularly who ask what else can be done. And I'm the first person to admit that Western medicine doesn't know everything. So my philosophy is as long as it causes no harm, because that's the first thing we have to all agree on, do no harm. Does this medicine help you physically, mentally, spiritually? Then I'm fine with it. As long as you're still at least conferring with me and asking questions, and as long as you're finding your source and your information from more than one reputable resource.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to comment before Q&A? Oh boy. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would really like to talk about this because I think in gastroenterology, in my field, there's a tremendous amount of psychosocial overlay. If you look at various diseases, whether it be with irritable bowel syndrome or just functional abdominal pain. You look at peptic ulcer disease, if you look at reflux, we know that our mental health is tied to our physical health. So I'm a big believer that when you combine traditional Western medicine, I agree with Jeff. I mean, we don't have all the answers in traditional Western medicine. So I think when you combine that with a holistic approach, I think it's synergistic. I think it's 1 + 1 = 7 or 8 or 9. The number could be even higher. So I think it has tremendous impact and can be really profound. Patients are looking for options. They're looking for other alternatives than just traditional Western medicine. So we have to be open to other options for them and meet them where they are. A lot of people don't want to be on pharmaceuticals, and so as long as it's, as Jeff has said, as long as these medicines are not hurtful to the patient, and I think if you have a patient that's fully engaged, they understand that you're seeing the big picture, you're looking at them holistically. That's what I try to do with all my patients and not just see them from a GI or liver perspective or context. I think it's important to look at them from a holistic context from head to toe because their mental health does impact their GI health and their GI health impacts their mental health. So I'm a firm believer holistic medicine has a place. We should continue to respect that and use it in those appropriate situations.
Yes.
I've been waiting patiently. Holistic medicine is what I do. I believe humans, we are very hard-headed. And as a physical therapist, I see people when they are at the end, when their hard-headedness has resulted in the physical manifestations of their trauma, whether emotional, spiritual, mental. And so in my sessions, a lot of the time we're doing coaching and education, and I hear their entire life story about how they ended up where they are. And oftentimes it could have been avoided had they had the privilege to have access to mental health care, affordable mental health care. In my household, believed in mental health care because we're Nigerian and, we just push through and American dream, we got to be productive. We don't have time to worry about your emotions and how you feel. So that's not something that I grew up with. It took me a long, long time and a lot of deaths that I had to grieve and the pandemic to be like, oh, okay, let me fix this because this is not okay. Like it doesn't make sense that having 2 weeks off of lockdown to clean a clinic was the waking up that I needed to be like, oh, wow, this is what it feels like to actually go to the bathroom and have lunch and eat fruits and vegetables. Oh my goodness. And wake up and get to go work out and dance and just do things I love. Oh, yeah, because I'm not required to go back to back to back to back and see these patients and sacrifice my mental health and therefore my physical health because I was the worst physically. I couldn't get out of bed. I did not want to get out of bed. And by returning to roots, returning to prioritizing mental health and physical health, emotional health, that is where I personally have seen the greatest change. And then sharing that with my friends and family and loved ones and clients, just the impact of me sharing them a tip of what I did to get out of the rut. Indigenous holistic medicine is how we need healthcare to move forward in the future. And I don't see any other way. So
And this, yeah,
Yes. Um, First of all, I'm a cancer survivor, so hooray for me. um, I almost think I have a question more than an answer. I certainly don't have an answer, but I do 100% believe in holistic medicine. I believe that surgeons are fantastic, oncologists are everybody. They do a great job with what they do. But I also believe that there are things outside of that and my question is, as let's say a patient, what's the best way to access all of this holistic medicine and all of these wonderful other things that can make me healthier? Do I go through my doctor or do I go just out on my own and start Googling things or whatever? I mean, it's kind of a funny feeling when I really would like to have a holistic doctor alongside my other doctor, but I don't have that now and I don't really know, but I think it should be.
yeah. I'm going to speak to that because that's something that I'm in the works of creating right now is a platform where you can go and you can find your chiropractor, your dentist, your physician, your healer, your whoever, and they all talk, right?
Oh,
And that, you can communicate and find the resources that you need after hours, 24-hour care in that way. Because right now, what I'm finding is my patients will come back to me and they're like, well, my physician said that he doesn't believe in Reiki or he doesn't believe in acupuncture. And what do you think about that? And I'm just like, well, that's a bunch of bullshit. So that's
ah,
just, I believe that as a healthcare provider, you should be proficient and knowledgeable in all the different ways that people heal. And modern medicine is new. Indigenous medicine has been around for ages. We created the healthcare system in America now. And so creating a platform and a network where we can all collaborate so that you can truly get your checkups of all mental health, spiritual, physical, sexual, all, like that be implemented into our healthcare system.
thank you for that. So I know there has to be so many questions
Mhm.
in this room. So if we could ask one question, and then my suggestion is that after the session, we will have more discussions as we go along in the week. Okay? So, ma'am, you raised your hand first. Could someone please get her a mic really quickly? What is your name and what is your question?
Um, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
My name's Elise, and my question is for Ann Carr. So I work with people who are recovering from substance use, and there's a lot of times where I encounter people who are getting out of rehab or out of prison who can't get back home.
Right?
So does your nonprofit cover rides for people like that also?
Yes, we do. There's a light, that's why I'm sorry to do that, but I like to look at you, but I can't really see you. But yes, we do. We use our system utilizes Uber and Lyft. Um, the hospitals that we work with primarily, they call in the rides themselves. They do it all themselves, and so that's great. Um, some of the other entities have us schedule the rides. So it can be the you mentioned prison. I mean, it can be anyone. We are available for everyone. The trick is that what we try to do is lessen the price of the ride share. Um, for the hospitals, we charge the ride share cost, whatever it might be, plus $1 for the let's say county social service, senior services, departments of transportations that do that. We schedule the rides for them, watch over the ride, where the it's going and getting back, make sure everybody's connected and they get home safely. And for that, it's the ride share cost plus $3. So the charge is not a lot, but the counties can subsidize the rides. The hospitals, through grants and things, can subsidize or pay for the rides. So now we're working to get a community assistance program because a lot of people don't fall under the county senior services or the hospitals. So we're putting together a community assistance program so that we can get some sponsors and get some funds so we can help individuals that are needy and don't fall under that. So we're working toward that now. Um, and I would appreciate it if you all could look us up and see what we're about um, so we can grow, actually. Did
Thank you so
I
much for
answer
your
your question?
question. Oh, and yes, sir. In the back.
Yeah, my name's Dave. So it's an interesting exercise to follow the dollar through healthcare, right? And see who siphons off what portion of the profit. You got guys like Mark Cuban out there with his new drug cost plus, lowering the cost of medication. But if we're going to lower the cost throughout the continuum of care, I'd be interested in hearing from the physicians what AI is going to play in that. Maybe I should be in next door. Maybe they're talking about AI and digital over there. But certainly, as I think about big data and AI and all the startups that are happening, um, it is going to have an impact, right? Everything from med school and the way physicians learn to the way they practice medicine to the profits by the for-profit organizations. So I'd be interested in your thoughts on that.
So first, there's a warning with AI. AI is not the panacea that's going to make everything better, and AI uses existing data. Our health system, unfortunately, is biased. There's a lot of race-based medicine in our system that causes problems, and AI will use that information to make more recommendations. So as we go forward with AI, we need to be very mindful of what data is used and how it's used. How can AI make a difference? AI can make the best difference when it comes to recommending treatments with the help of a live person, a person who can review it. So if I have a patient has 5 symptoms, I have no idea what it is, AI would be fantastic at saying these are the top 3 that it could be, and I have to decide which one of those I should pursue. So I think AI can have potential. It's not going to change health cost. AI wants to replace our scribes and replace us taking notes. So maybe there will be some jobs that can be eliminated with AI, but that's not where the cost is. The cost is not the people. The cost is the administrations and the people in the mid level who are siphoning off the money, as you said, in order to keep the system running. And AI is not going to change that, in my opinion.
Thank you. So where can we find all of you? We only have 5 more minutes, so we will start with you. Where can we find you if we want to?
Yes, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm with Practice Single Specialty Group, United Digestive in Atlanta, Georgia. We've got offices all throughout the metro area. We're actually in Florida. We're in Tennessee, excuse me, South Carolina, and also in North Carolina as well. So we have a large platform, but I'm in the metro area. And you can just go onto our website at uniteddigestive.com and take a look at our webpage. And everything is very accessible there. So happy to serve anyone. I've been in practice now over 25 years and still see new patients and if the schedule allows, I work people in daily. So we're always working, trying to accommodate to make sure availability is first and foremost for us and our patients. So happy to serve and just want to say thank you to uh, Healthcare 2.0 for putting this conference on and thanking you for your time and listening today. And I hope we can continue to have these type of conversations going forward because I think that's what it takes in healthcare. It's going to take a collaborative effort, and that can only take place through really efficient dialogue and respecting one another's points of views. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Ann
Okay.
Carr.
You can get in touch with Bob and I and our company, Common Courtesy. You can go to ccrides, RIDES, .org. Um, Also, I think I've got cards. I can give you my mobile number. We'd love to talk to anyone about this. Just so you'll know, we are located in Atlanta, Georgia, but we can operate anywhere Uber and Lyft are in existence. So we can do rides in California, we can do rides anywhere. Um, and we would just love to serve as many people as we can because it is an efficient and beautiful way to have a car come pick someone up, take them where they need to go, get them there, and then bring them back to their home. It's just, and it works. It just works beautifully.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Where can we find you?
Find me all over the place. Different mediums for different people. If you Google Sunny Therapeutics, you should find me. I'm on Instagram. My Instagram is at doctor_D. You can find me on LinkedIn, Dr. Udom Isang. You can Google that. Or if you feel so inclined, if you want to help build this world and make it better, I believe in collaboration and community. So you can also text me at 302-715-1294 or find me afterwards.
Wonderful. And how do we find you?
I'm in Austin, Texas. I'm an adolescent medicine physician. That means I take care of 11 to 25-year-olds. I don't think anyone in here is quite that age group. Um, that's what I do at the community clinic that I work at. But my other role, my other job is I'm a leadership consultant with a diversity, equity, and inclusion lens. You can find me at wadealliance, one word.com. And I'm happy to start a relationship and help people who have leadership challenges with a diversity, equity, and inclusion lens.
Thank you so much. I am Libya Mitchell. I am from Atlanta, Georgia, but I am also based in Austin, Texas. So we're kind of neighbors. You can find me at Live Speaks. I speak on leadership, healthcare, and resilience, but I'm also a healthcare consultant. So I serve only the hospice world, and also the elderly slash geriatric world. It has been our pleasure. As you know, this is a heated topic. I thank you all for not throwing chairs at us. I thank you very much for not going crazy. But it is a heated topic, and it is a topic that we all love and we all want to make better. It has been our pleasure being here for your first session of this conference. Thank you to Health 2.0. This part is adjourned. Because they're awesome. Give them another round of applause as they walk off.
Ooh, guys, we are going to be moving right along with our keynote as planned. I know a lot of people have gotten up real quick, so we'll do a quick 2 minutes. Please come on back. We are going to keep this party going with our first keynote of the day. Thank you so much. It in one more minute. We're going to be starting in one more minute. Take your seats, please. Take your seats, please, and thank you. Dr. Zanik, are you here? Oh, there she is. Okay, great. Okay, let's get started. It is time, guys, for our first keynote of the day. Get excited. Get ready to be inspired by Dr. Marian J. Zanik, CEO and founder of Zaniz Health and Fitness. Today, she'll take us on a journey emphasizing the innovation isn't just about groundbreaking ideas, it's about having the guts to unleash them upon the world. Touche. I'm super excited for this one. I told you that we were going to see you soon, darling. It was just a matter of time. With her expertise in health and fitness equipment, Dr. Zanik will share stories of boldness and determination, urging us to tap into our own courage to drive change and make a lasting impact. The stage is yours. Round of applause for Dr. Zanik. Please come on up.
I think this one is working. Is it good to go? Do you hear me? Thank you. Hey, hello, everybody. I have a burning question to ask you. Have you ever been in a healthcare situation that really perhaps was not going well? You stood back, looked at it, and thought, oh, I could do so much better with this. You could improve the output, probably change people's lives. Yeah, I sure have too. Working alongside orthopedic surgeons, therapists, and their patients in the recovery of immobilized joints of traumatically injured patients and surgeries. And I've experienced their frustrations firsthand. It was the worst situation to try to get the joints to move. We were certainly looking for a fulcrum around which the movement could occur, and it was lacking. Didn't matter who we were dealing with, whether it was the injured trauma patient who had the locked knees, the rock hard joints in the ankles, frozen shoulders and backs begging for mercy, or the athletes who inevitably suffer injury just by going to work, and the individuals who are tired and worn out, regular people. Everybody is looking for rejuvenation. Oops, back one. Frustrations mounted. Primitive at best, the solutions were inferior makeshift remedies. For the feet, it's a tennis ball, a water bottle, perhaps a slant board or the wall. For the whole body, it was stretch cages, metal cages, and a whole lot of wishful thinking. Consider for an instant one patient, Joseph, 42-year-old lawyer who suffered a very severe motorcycle accident. His body was left in dire shape. Orthopedic surgeons basically scraped him off the pavement and put him back together again with rivets and plates and screws. The challenge, get him moving again. Oh, and with no pain. You know, it was referred to him for his rock hard ankles, the stairs, and for his locked knees, to hang it over the couch arm, maybe put a bag of rice on it to help. For his shoulder, he was prescribed a stretch cage at $600 a month. And some of those things work a little bit. The night splints that he was referred to almost resulted in divorce with his spouse. It became a real problem. And you know, with a 600% increase by the year 2030 in total knee replacements and shoulder surgeries, we know that contracted musculoskeletal tissue is a serious problem. 1.7 billion people around the world in 160 countries suffer musculoskeletal issues and yet do not have proper, easy tools to restore. Then there's our athletes. Got to consider how they suffer, always being sidelined by injury. You have to marvel at the explosive foot power of our athletes, the jump shot, near ankle breaking prowess of the NBA, the fast pivots of the MMA, of baseball pitchers, tennis players, hockey, cricket. It's all fun and games until you realize that 1.6 billion is lost each year in injuries of our athletes, mostly happening to their feet. They are suffering ankle sprain and turf toe and Achilles tendinopathies and plantar fasciitis. Plantar fasciitis, nearly 80% of us will suffer a discomfort of plantar fasciitis at some point that will interfere with our daily living, sports performance, overall well-being. And as mentioned, the general people who suffer from an auspicious disease of plantar fasciitis, 8 out of 10 of us, it really becomes a problem to the everyday people who are just looking for some relief, some sort of technique to restore the tissues back to their full range of motion, pain-free. Everybody's looking for pain-free, a way to stretch, and a way to stay mobilized for life. So, armed with degrees in clinical pathology and experience as an orthopedic specialist and training with clinicians, patients, I took it upon myself to figure out this problem. And a twist of fate, I had to recover my own knee from injury from skiing too hard down the mogul run in Vermont. And it's a fine line. It's an amazing thing to be on one side of good health and suddenly cross that line. That's a motivator. So to heal my injury, I turned to what I know best, a very private running trail that holds all of the body conditioning elements that one might need deep in the Connecticut forest, in the depths of 10,000 acres of forest in my own backyard. That's where I live, and that's where I am most days. I'm a warrior in this forest. I use the fallen tree branches for weight, for ballast. I run and I climb up the cliffs. I use the rocks, the trees, and I restore myself hanging from extreme positions to get that full range of motion at the site of attachment to the bone where I need it the most, not in middle range. And I've used this technique for years. So that's where I turned when I had to heal my own knee. Do you know, I went from crutches to full recovery within 3 short weeks using my new technique of therapy. I didn't use a therapist, and what I used was a new form of incremental physical therapy using what nature gave me. I discovered the mountain laurel trees deep in the forest, which is the Connecticut state tree. It's an unusual, beautiful bush-like tree that embraces the forest, and it has a certain pliable pushback to it. It's got just the right amount. As I push into it, it pushes back. And I was able to restore my knee by placing it using the handles of the tree as they were incrementally leveling up and using this technique. After all, the plasticity of soft tissues is what makes this so successful. And so I took it upon myself to design the first product, WillowWorks, a standing upright device that basically can replace an entire room full of heavy metal equipment. There's no need for heavy, bulky grips and massive. It's a new way of thinking. I had to duplicate the mountain laurel tree material properties, biomimicry. That's what this is all about. Using what nature gave us and turning it into the best engineering solutions for us to use. Of course, the mountain laurel trees have a certain pliable pushback. So I sought out the Connecticut boat builders. Bentwood lamination. This has 7 layers of wood, and it gives that exact pliable pushback that I was looking for. Fantastic. I was able to then go to the boat builders in Vermont and build a bigger structure, and then headed to Lunenburg, Nova Scotia. My daughter and I took the ferry from the East Coast to Nova Scotia to the world's best boat builders, and they truly are because they are the guys who built the Blue Nose, the schooner that's on the Canadian dime. These guys built me what I wanted, and it had the characters that I needed. And then I took that after finding the market for it. I found some SCORE executives who supported me, and we headed off to Beijing. We had this device made now, not bentwood lamination, but FRP, fiber reinforced plastics. So having made those, we had them shipped in and I distributed them. Made some sales, about $13,000 worth of sales, enough to go beyond proof of concept to recognize that, oh, this can be done. And so on that note, I expanded more to develop the other products for a total of 4 orthopedic devices that truly can revolutionize the way that we approach orthopedic health. Starting with the first device, simple, ankle stone for feet and ankles. Oh, the foot and ankle industry is so underserved. This is a lightweight, easy to use tool for Achilles tendon stretch, plantar fasciitis, toe extension, right foot to left foot, cradle the foot for recovery for eversion, inversion, post ankle sprain, plantar stretches, advanced stretches, and deep tissue massage. And we were able to place this with the NBA in Florida and UConn basketball and US soccer. Got a bunch of people waiting for this now, some Olympic and major league athletes been saying to us, hey, where have you been all my career? So we've got something good here. Take this and amplify it to the second device, Bedrock. That one developed for the whole body. It's got a design that is contoured with ramps, therapeutic grooves, round handholds, grips, all kinds of movement around this very lightweight bedrock. It's in that next room over there. I invite all of you to come and test out the equipment. And bedrock is exceptional because, like a rock climber, just need flexor digitorum, then just the fingertips to grip something, stabilize the joint, and then it's amazing what you can do. So here we've got these nice, lean, easy to use tools that truly can drive the mission to revolutionize the way we approach orthopedic health. The third product, Base Rock. As an amplified mat, it's got foot straps and handholds and contoured support, kind of mimics the moss that I used on the rocks when I did my push ups, as it protected my wrists. So, how do we get here? How did we get here? How do we go forward? To be here at Health 2.0 in Las Vegas, gathered together some of the best leaders in innovation and health leadership working together. You get here with an incredible, unwavering belief in yourself and your vision. It's a combination of strategies, strengths, courage that we all must hold on to. If you want to go from prototype to product, idea to reality, innovation to impact, you have got to be brave every step of the way, and I'm encouraging all of us to be so. It's interesting. I'm thrilled to announce that I've got a book coming out in the summer. Same title, Innovation is Nothing Without the Courage to Unleash It. And I talk about entrepreneurial empowerment, secret strategies for success, and I reflect on the amplification of the belief in yourself. When I was 3.5 years old, visiting Niagara Falls with my family, my mom, my dad, and my three older sisters, I decided I wanted another view. Well, I knew my capacity. I was strong. I could climb for cookies before my mom knew I was in the kitchen. I could climb apple trees in the orchard. I knew my competence. So I climbed over that railing. When discovered, rescued, and questioned, why would you ever do such a thing? I would later on in life answer, why wouldn't you? To me, my capacity to hold on was the same on either side of the risk. So as we feel risk, it's tumultuous and we have our push and challenge, but we've got to really believe in our capacity to hold on. Hold on to humor, perseverance. You know, innovation is nothing but a combination of challenges and comedy. After all, it's not reality that shapes us, but the lens through which we view the world that shapes our reality. So laugh at it as well and stay strong so that we, all of us, can improve the healthcare situation as we are not just healing bodies, we can restore lives. Thank you. Yeah, any questions? I'd love to answer. It was my first, well, my clinical background. We were speaking of this morning, how all of us make our choices, and then it culminates in a magical combination of talents. And mine with the scientific background and innate drive to know, curiosity, and working for 7.5 years with orthopedic surgeons, neurosurgeons, and their patients, and discovering this void that existed that was so frustrating. That's one of my driving issues. And then the knowledge that I could do it. An engineering background growing up, ability to solve, an ability to think ahead and have a vision, some money. You have to have the money. Made some smart investments, and I love to invest in myself. I strongly believe in investing in myself. Um, and a perseverance that just won't. Yes, yes, yeah. No, because that would not work. You have to make the translation to be a commercial product. You can't do that. That's the idea. That's the inspiration. And then all of the translations have to go in from an engineering point of view. Yeah. You know why we don't have to graduate it? Lovely, because it's contoured. So you simply slide your hand. It's narrower here. You want to change the resistance? Simply slide your hand. And it's also got a little bit of a buoy here, a little bit of, so it's like a bow and arrow or Bowflex, and that tributes. So yes, we did. I got it UL tested. I sent them a device, told them to break it, and the fracture rate was rated at 890 pounds before this thing would break. And we know that you really only need about 16 pounds to 25, 30 pounds that a person will apply. And it is then kicking back to force me to contract the musculature, and it's an easy solution. Yeah, we're working on it. Yeah, I've got initial sales, which have proven e-commerce value. Then we had to be quiet and build up our inventory. And now, yes, yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. And data acquisition is coming, especially with ankle stone right now, and a possible NIH SBIR study gathering the data and amplifying on the data that we've accumulated through New York and Connecticut, Boston, and different states. Actually, I've been able to get the products on 3 continents, Philippines and as well. So yes.
All right, if there's no more questions, another round of applause for Dr. Zanuck. That was wonderful. That was so interesting. Thank you so much. Also, one of our bronze sponsors at today's event. Now it's time to gear up as we move on to our next panel discussion on the topic personalized nutrition for mental wellness, navigating individual variations. Did you know what you eat affects your mood and mental health? Kind of like that old saying, you are what you eat, right? That's right. It's time we nourish not just our bodies, but also our minds for a happier and healthier life. And of course, we know this, right? We read about it, it's all over the internet. But we're going to dive a little bit deeper and get a little bit more specific in this next panel. Get ready to discover how simple dietary adjustments can lead to significant improvements in overall well being of an individual with our session's moderator. Please welcome Anna Panito, founder and executive director of Whole Mind Symphony. Woohoo! Come on up. And she will be introducing our next expert panelists as well. Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Um, I have two wonderful colleague panelists here with me, and that's going to be Lori. Is Lori there? And Tracy Oser. All right. So I just want to give a little intro to this panel. And number one, I'm going to ask you, do you all think that food is life? Yes?
Oh
Food is
yeah.
life? Okay. Have you ever thought that food is death as well? We're going to be discussing here with these wonderful people um, why this epidemic that is going on with mental illness in the country, why is this happening? You know, we never had so many suicides happening. And now what worries me is children. And why? Why is this happening? And it's not only about social media, okay?
So we're going to be discussing here today types of diet, and also the the different factors that contribute to life or death. Okay, so I'm going to pass for people to introduce themselves and talk a little bit about their work. Okay, so
Thank you so much, Anna.
maybe
I
don't.
think am okay coming through okay?
Okay.
So nice to be here with you talking about personalized nutrition for mental wellness. So I'm a mind body medicine practitioner, a functional medicine practitioner. I'm a coach, an integrated wellness coach, speaker, and a teacher, and a yogi as well. I'm a practitioner and a teacher. Woo, got yogis out there. Wonderful. Some downward dog later on to digest my food, right? So, my work is really in many ways personal, and it was catalyzed by a childhood of diverse or adversity and a diverse array of traumatizing experiences. And that really, by way of upregulating my epigenome and not the best way, kind of set me on a track of having multiple challenges related to food, everything from an eating disorder, autoimmunity, many stress related disorders, and food either exacerbated that or it healed it. And so food is medicine or poison, as Anna says. And I help people to use food as a part of an overall kind of mind, brain, body network based approach. So we're really looking at inputs throughout the whole system. It's a systems biology perspective. Everything from the nervous system, as well as the food, all of the inputs that we're putting in, I help people to choose options that help them upregulate health genes instead of disease genes.
Good morning, everyone. So, my name is Tracy Ozer, and I do not work specifically in nutrition. What I do is I'm a business owner who focuses solely on bereavement due to suicide loss. And I lost my own daughter 17 years ago to suicide. And in my journey, I've worked with many different people who've also had their own losses. And what I've found is nutrition is important as we are going through our grieving process. And as people are healing, if we aren't taking care of our bodies, we aren't going to improve our mental health so that we can come out of that grief healthy and effectively. So I'm just excited to be on this panel and share, what I've found for the people I work with as a coach, um, what has worked as far as nutrition and mind and gut health and how it all ties together.
Okay, my name is Ana Penido, and I have a nonprofit called Whole Mind Symphony. And why did I have to create this nonprofit? Before this life and health, I was a filmmaker. It's like, what happens is that 14 years ago, my first son was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and I didn't know what was that about. It's like, what? He looks like he's on drugs, but the drug that never ends, day after day is called psychosis. And I worked with him for 4 years, and because we have a very good relationship, um, he achieved a lot of progress, and also because I found the right specialists, the right doctors who believe in holistic. I was especially looking for that because that's what I believe in. I believe that food heals, and of course, the whole support, the therapeutic support, and many other factors. It's not one size fits all because 4 years later, my second son also developed schizophrenia. And is yes, the genes run in the family, right? Um, some people in my mother's side of the family had either schizophrenia or bipolar, like distant cousins. But it gets triggered by street drugs. There's a lot of scientific studies about that showing that now. Which brings back to the responsibility that other industries have when they are out there announcing cannabis, and there's absolutely no warning that this can trigger mental illness. But after that, and the mental health system is so broken, that I said, how I'm going to get to heal my sons. My first son got healed with a combination of factors, and especially with food, with nutrition, and we started with like um, whole foods, away from processed foods. And some labs and some things showed that he was sensitive to other things. So we started eliminating things that showed in the labs that he was sensitive to. And another factor is that most people with mental illness have a deficiency of folate. And that we did like a gene exam, a gene lab to find out about that. And he slowly, by looking at the labs and understanding, he himself started thinking, I'm going to eliminate gluten, I'm going to eliminate dairy. And what he was doing in his own contact with himself is like finding more connection between what you eat and how you feel. What is your mood, or what the triggers on you? We do things so mindless. And so I can say with honor that today my oldest son has been totally recovered. 5 years on a vegan diet, gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free, and any allergen free and sugar free. Big one, because some people think about vegan and eat a lot of sugar. That doesn't work. Sugar is a real big killer. Um, and so what happened with my second son, which I thought I'm going to apply the same ideas that I have and what I learned from practice in these 13 years, and especially the deficiency of niacin, which is also something that happens a lot with people with schizophrenia. And it was not improving him. And I was like, why is this not improving him? Also, his response to medication was not as fast as my older son. So, what I'm saying is that everybody has a different metabolism. And my youngest son is conserved, and he has for 10 years been inside an institution. And that's why I created this nonprofit, because my hope is to create a home, because people don't need to be in institutions or jails. And they can go through hospitals for a crisis period, but then how they're going to heal long term. And they need a home to heal. And this home needs to be holistic and give them the right nutrition, so you can lower the amount of medication when people get that balance back. And that's what happens with my oldest son. Today my son has a dose of psychotic, less than child's dose. Okay, and he is on um, a lifestyle with meditation, exercise, nutrition, doing work that he wants. He lives independently. He has a girlfriend, and this is all possible because he's focusing on his self-care. My youngest son, he's been on institution for 10 years. What happened to him, which freaked me out? He developed fatty liver disease. Why? Because that's what happens. That's a side effect of long-term medication, mostly antipsychotics. Well, he's going to need those antipsychotics, right? But how do you balance the other thing? I went nuts looking for the solution. It says my son's going to die of cirrhosis before he dies from mental illness. And, I cannot take him out of the institution, because he needs 24/7 care. So how do I get what he needs inside an institution? So I went to look for doctors, and I got a clinical nutritionist And she said he would do better on a low carb, low sugar diet. And so I said, "Can you write a prescription, please?" And she says, "What? This is ridiculous." And I says, "He's inside an institution." She says, "Oh, I get that." So she wrote, and I went there, and they were implementing the low carb, low sugar diet. And in just 5 months, my son lost 30 pounds, got rid of the fatty liver disease, and started thinking better. I also asked the psychiatrist to eliminate olanzapine, which was the drug that was causing, and try something different. So today he's in clozapine and doing a low carb diet, low sugar diet, and he's a different person. He's close to being close to the level of discharge. He still will need to go to a home because all the other places that they offer for step downs are places where people can get addicted because they have no supervision. So drugs come in and people are, when you think about people who with have developmental disorder, they have homes that have 24/7 care. People with Alzheimer's, it's something you have to live with all your life, but you need the support to be able to um, recover. And recover you can. So I'm going to let my make questions to my panelists here, and we're going to dive into this much deeper. So, Lori, how might the use of wearables and lab testing support personalized nutrition planning for mental wellness?
Yeah. Boy, have things changed in the past just 3 to 5 years around technology, wearables, and the lab markers, the biomarkers that we can access to personalize our dietary patterns. So it's a data informed decision making process. How many of you have an Apple Watch on? Yeah, right. Or use some type of a fitness tracker. We're able to eavesdrop into our neurophysiology and what's going on with our metabolism so that we can be really, really lean into precision medicine. If we don't know, if somebody's coming in with a mood disorder and we don't know that their vitamin D levels are suboptimal, we could be missing just a really easy piece of their treatment protocol, right? Also, just looking at omega-3 fatty acids, doing a really comprehensive blood panel. And oftentimes, times these panels can be missing some key markers that we need to be looking at. Um, Paying attention to what she just described in decreasing the glucose load is actually managing inflammation. So, looking at inflammatory markers, because we now understand through the gut brain axis and the impact of the microbiota that depression and anxiety are rooted often in escalated inflammation. And so managing those cytokines, that are released from the standard American diet, for example, which is highly inflammatory with all the processed foods. So taking a look at some key biomarkers, and we don't even, I really have appreciated Dr. Mark Hyman has released a functionhealth.com where it's democratizing our ability to do our own lab work. And so I actually do my lab work through him. Many of my clients do as well. And he has over 100 biomarkers that we can take a look at so that we can be precise with what we're going to do with our dietary patterns. And not just our food, our dietary patterns are also our thoughts and our emotional diet as well, because those can upregulate inflammatory markers also. So, and even if you don't do something with over 100 biomarkers, just looking at some key magnesium levels is another example, right? For depression and even anxiety. And sometimes just adjusting these in a tiny way, either getting it through the food or some type of supplementation, can be incredibly empowering for clients and just help them to feel like, oh, okay, I can actually do something on my own. And one of the things that I do is to I just use these judiciously, Or if people really want to go down the rabbit hole, then we can go down the rabbit hole. But I think looking at a few key markers is so valuable. For other markers that I look at is the composition of the microbiota. So using some microbiome testing as well, because there could be one of the key markers that I look at when I'm looking at some gut testing is something called lipopolysaccharides. That's your LPS levels. And if that is elevated, then your risk for depression, anxiety, brain fog, cognitive decline, those types of things, neurological disorders are you're much more at risk for those. So that's a key marker I look at, but I also look at other things going on with the composition of the microbiota. And then a couple of other pieces of technology or wearables, data that I have found super useful for me and my clients is continuous glucose monitoring. And now we have athletes that are doing this right. Let me take a look at what is elevating my postprandial glucose response. And we know from the literature now, there's a lot of literature indicating that this is really connected to life and health span, how often you're spiking those glucose levels. So that can be super empowering for clients to know if I eat this, which I could eat a bowl of rice, and my postprandial glucose response is very different than what Tracy's is, right? That's the precision. And that's all connected to my metabolic pathways, my epigenome, what's going on with the composition of my microbiota. So looking at those markers can be incredibly powerful. I think there's two key markers that are most important to look at. One is what's going on with your glucose, and the second is your heart rate variability. And so I've been doing heart rate variability monitoring and training now for 10, 15, 20 years, really. Just having my clients utilize this more because we know that vagal tone is impacted. Your sympathetic and your parasympathetic branches of your autonomic nervous system are impacted by food and pretty quickly. And so I use an aura ring. This is the common thing that many of my clients use for looking at heart rate variability. I also use something from HeartMath called an inner balance to do HRV training, but they can also see what's going on in their autonomic nervous system. For example, if they just ate a half of a pizza and maybe a six pack of beer the night before, they can see what happened with their heart rate variability the next day, which can be incredibly powerful for them. So, just using our own personalized data because we just don't have the same metabolism, epigenome, or physiological responses to food is, I think, some where we're headed with it in a good use of the technology, a conscious use of the technology. And I'm really helping people to become conscious operators of their nervous systems and their pathways and their neurotransmitters because we can as humans. And having this data, being able to eavesdrop in on the nervous system and the metabolic pathways is incredibly powerful.
Thank you. I'd like to ask Tracy, what happens when one is not eating properly when going through grief, and what diet do you recommend?
So when I lost my daughter to suicide, what I tell people is your whole world, understandably, shifts upside down. And so if you talk to any suicide loss survivor, they will tell you, I'm not eating, I'm not sleeping, I'm not taking care of myself because I just flat out don't care. I don't care what happens to me. This whole part of my existence has just been ripped away from me. So to approach a suicide loss survivor and say, "Oh, you need to eat and you need to drink your water and make sure you're doing that," um, they're probably going to get really angry with you and say some really choice things. Um, the point is that we need a support system. Like what these ladies are doing is wonderful in what they're able to share. But if you have someone who's going through complex trauma, not only do they probably not care at that moment, but they're not thinking on a level of this is what I should do. And so my purpose for joining this panel was to say nutrition is important and we want to encourage people, but we also have to meet people where they are. and we have to help them to understand that we're going to support them through this and get to a point where we can work back towards proper nutrition and proper lifestyle eventually. And so I like what you guys said about how we're not a one size fits all. We're all individual human beings. We all have good intentions, right? But how many of you say, "Oh, I'm going to start a new diet next week and I'm going to eat better," and then you go out the next week and you eat pasta and lasagna and pizza, and I do it. Um, it's true, right? So when we're looking at grief, what grief does is it takes your chemical in your brain, your chemicals in your brain, and just blow them up, right? And so therefore that affects our ability to think and our ability to process. And what we need is we need more work done on a sympathetic, compassionate end to say, you know what, I know you're not there yet where you need to eat healthy and get more nutrition back into your system, but let me go alongside you and work with you and get there. Because once they reach that point of coming out of brain fog and coming out of despair and thinking that their own life should be over as well, then I send people to, people like Lori and people like Anna to then break that down. But with grief, we need to look at the fact that nothing is normal and it may not be normal for an extended period of time. With suicide loss, it's complex. It is, like I said, devastating. And it's not I'm going to go to a funeral and then I'm going to process that and then I'm going to go back to work and I'm going to go back to my life. It doesn't work that way. Right now, the average of suicide loss survivors is 135 per one loss. So you have one person who dies, 135 people are affected in one degree or another. And then you look at the national statistics of 20,000 plus per year, multiply that out, we have hundreds of thousands of people who are affected. And that, again, affects their ability to make proper nutritional choices. There's a gentleman by the name of Dr. Daniel Amen, who I've been following a lot this past year. And he does brain scans on people that have different traumas, different issues going on to see how their brain was impacted. Well, when you talk about loss, now you have biomarkers that are going up and down like they didn't before. And the way we've treated that is to send someone to therapy, which is, therapy's great, but we send them to therapy and then the therapist prescribes a medication, some kind of, psychotic drug and says, go take this and we'll check on you. So we're trying to band-aid the situation. And so as far as diets go with someone who has had this traumatic loss, first of all, we don't even talk about that for the first 6 months to a year. But we sit with them and we hand them a glass of water and we say, please drink this. You'll thank me later. But we need to come at it from a more compassionate standpoint to actually get people to a healthier outcome.
Yeah, I want to compliment what you said because it's so hard to change when you come from a culture that when you go out there, what do you see? What are our children are looking at those billboards and commercials? It's all about eat fast, eat processed. Look at this beautiful label. We know there's a huge agenda with the food industry. Actually, I found out that the FDA removed the dyes from the pills that we take in drugs, but not they let it be in the cereal box and everything else. So what is FDA really doing that is not protecting the food? And where's this merge of the food industry with the health industry, and so the idea of when somebody comes from a culture, there's also an emotional connection to a certain food. And well, the Indian culture is great because they got turmeric, and we know that's a big anti-inflammatory that helps. But in the United States, there is another culture of don't make this a big deal. Your meal is just, you don't even think about it. You just swallow it and go back to work because the focus here is to be productive, and productivity means success. And when you go back to preparing your own food, especially fresh food, there is a meditation moment there where you're cutting, you're getting in contact with nature, you're cutting contact with those nutrients that will serve you. And you talk to your food. I don't know if you guys do, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
when you eat, you just say, this is going to help my liver, this is going to help my blood circulate better, and you are paying attention to what you prepare. And of course, fresh food is better, much better than processed food. But the other aspect that we live in the society here that's very individualistic, people don't sit together, they don't socialize when they eat. And so the idea of me creating this home is because to implement a diet, for people to say, okay, I'm going to take that, it's so much easier when the group is doing it. So my idea, especially with people with serious mental illness, is that in this home, we're going to start with the latest cutting edge study, which is ketogenic diet, which has over 2023 and 24, more than 2,000 studies proving that ketogenic diet helps mental health. It can reduce symptoms and obviously reduces weight, changes the metabolism, and um, in some case there's remission, which is something like I got totally hopeful with the situation. But how I'm going to get my son to eat a ketogenic diet if the person next to him inside a hospital or whatever is eating a pizza uh, with carbs and the wrong flour. So when you have a home, and I think that's the future of mental health America, is not like put people in huge places, but have small homes where they can have these diets, and trained staff encouraging, and everybody's getting the same. And so there's this education and culture being developed of, wow, let's be in this together. So I'd like you to explain a little more about the ketogenic and how that helps change the metabolism.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to comment on what you said, Anna. I'm just so impressed with the work that you're doing. But this idea of who cares what's on your plate, like just eat, right? And not realizing that food is a set of instructions. Food is code, and it's sending powerful signals to our cells at a cellular level. 11 million people a year die from food. It's the number one killer. Global Burden of Disease Study 2019. This is not something we don't want to be paying attention to. Talk about an epidemic, right?
Mm-hmm.
11 million people a
Mm-hmm.
year.
Yep.
So, one of the benefits of a ketogenic diet, and again, I do believe in tailoring. Sometimes it has to be, you have to even modify the ketogenic diet. There may be times when you have to make modifications based on, just taking a precision medicine approach. But ketogenic diet is powerful for, by the way, 85-90% of the population has metabolic issues. So it's really helpful for improving metabolic health and creating that flexibility between being glucose dependent and fat dependent.
Mm-hmm.
And we need more of that. That's going to create more physiological reserve, which is going to help us to be healthier in the face of pathogens and viruses and things like that as well. But being able to get down the spikes in the glucose is also anti-inflammatory. So the anti-inflammatory components, because I do like a ketogenic Mediterranean mix, right?
Mm-hmm.
The anti-inflammatory benefits are fast, really fast. Also, the changes in the microbiome from a ketogenic diet. Now, you don't necessarily want to stay in ketosis, not everybody, all the time, right? Nutritional ketosis, I should say. But I intermittently go in and out of that to help with my gut health and my inflammatory levels, always watching those. The carb load and the refined processed sugars that we're taking in, they're in everything. It's so challenging. It's so difficult, you know.
And nobody's questioning it.
Right.
I mean, imagine the change that would be in just costs, and health if all the hospitals adopted a low carb, low sugar diet, for instance, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just that it, people wouldn't be inside a hospital so long.
Right. And well, and what, it disturbs me. What feeds tumors? Sugar. And I just had a family member die of cancer. I go into the hospital, and the amount of sugar offered to her was, it was just disturbing and alarming. So we've got to start putting these worlds together, healthcare and food, and really, seeing it from a network or a systems perspective, that every input coming into this network is impacting the outputs, right? This is not, the central nervous system is not separate from the autonomic nervous system and below the body and the gut. It's all integrated.
Yeah.
And we know that the gut has connections by way of the vagus, to the emotional centers of the brain, the limbic center, and is impacting the health of the amygdala, and also our learning centers and centers for cognition, the prefrontal cortex. And so, being able to engage in impulse control around food is going to be impacted by how much sugar that you're intaking, right? And what are your inflammation levels? And we know sugar is one of the most inflammatory things that we can put in our body, particularly when it's paired with a lot of protein. We see that, um, those. Um, those, like those burnt sugars that are causing so much inflammation, and ages, maybe you've heard of those, the ages, that are upregulating the aging response. So neurological disorders, Alzheimer's is now labeled as often as type 3 diabetes. So we have a real challenge on our hand. I do think it's a crisis and it needs some attention. So
Yeah,
thank you,
the
Ann.
good news is that some doctors, because you know that this is not taught in medical school, the amount of nutrition classes they have is minimum, right? So most doctors don't get that information. So when you go to a doctor with a chronic illness and they prescribe you the medication, they say, what should I eat, doctor? Oh, eat anything. No, no, it's not like that, right? But right now it's changing. I have the good news that we're starting in Harvard Medical School. Um, there's a doctor who started a whole thing about nutrition with mental health, and we have these metabolic clinic psychiatry with Dr. Chris Palmer in Harvard, and also in Stanford, Dr. Shabani Sethi. And she's also very interested in supporting our residents in our home because she's starting in 2025 a study with ketogenic for 150 people. So the studies are starting to be bigger. And like Lori said, it's not that everybody needs ketogenic. My oldest son is doing well with a vegan, right? With reduction, with the elimination of all this. Some Mediterranean is good. And some people don't have a problem with grains. Other people do. My youngest son, yes. So I'm going to go to another question for us to start wrapping. But the question here is, what are the top 3 things you recommend as changes in dietary habits to shift one's health faster? Tracy.
So obviously water. We preach water all the time. Good water, not flavored water, not carbonated water, just water. Um, and again, I say it comes back to supporting the people you know. If you know they're struggling, walk alongside them, hand them the water. But we need to look at when we're looking at grief, particularly, not only do we have people that just don't eat because they're sad, we have the people that overeat, right? So they'll sit there and they'll down bags of potato chips because it will make them feel better because of the different chemicals in their system. And we really need to, as we see that behavior happening, we need to ask the questions and we need to let those people explain, why did you need that whole bag of Cheetos? Um, and then we need to listen to them and we need to have constructive conversations with them because I think, as a whole, we need to be able to share, right? We're human. We want to share what's going on with us. We spend too much time internalizing what we're feeling and not um, getting the help we need. So it's important to support each other and help out each other through those processes.
So beautiful. Thank you, Tracy. I would say the first thing is know your power. Encoded in our DNA is the ability to consciously regulate ourselves. But we have to practice. We have to practice our diet. What are we intaking? What are we thinking? Thoughts become things in the body. They become chemistry. Emotions are molecules. We know this from Dr. Candace Pert's work um, at the National Institutes of Health. That this is our thoughts and our emotions are neurochemically altering us and rewiring our nervous systems, and can be in a way away from resiliency instead of towards resiliency. So know that what you produce endogenously, pharmaceutical wise, is way more powerful than any exogenous substances that you can take in. We have the ability to regulate our neurotransmitters. One of the best ways that we can do this when we're talking about food is really decreasing the processed foods. So, and I would say eliminating ultra
I
processed.
would go for eliminating.
Eliminating, yeah. You buy a can of tomatoes, it's processed in some way,
Right,
right? But you
right.
you you hope there's not a bunch of other crap in it, right? And so really eating a whole foods diet, anti-inflammatory whole foods diet, that would be one of the best ways that you can manage that inflammatory response. And then I would say next up, move. Move. Sitting is the new smoking. Move. We have got to dislodge the emotional patterning from all of the collective traumas that we've had, individual stress and traumas. That has to be dislodged. It's getting trapped in our fascia, that connective tissue that holds everything together. That's becoming rigid. Some of my clients say I can't touch my toes anymore, and I'm like, that's not just because of age. That has to do with inflammation. What's going on with your fascia? Move, move, move. Find something that works for you. Walking, dancing, swimming, whatever it might do, yoga, it doesn't matter. Move your body. And then sleep hygiene. Incredible, incredible active recovery tool. And one of the best ways to take care of the part of your brain that's going to help you stay connected in community and to make good, wise, healthy decisions. One of the reasons why it's hard to stick with these New Year's resolutions because some of the damage to our prefrontal cortex going on right now. It's kind of offline because of all of the stressors and the highly inflammatory diet that we're eating. So sleep and moving, managing the inflammation, and know your power. I think that was four, maybe. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. The more the merrier.
Yeah.
So, my take is education. I think that people need to learn and understand what they are eating and how impactful is in. So, the good news, only do this once a year. I'm doing a course with my beautiful son who has recovered, and it's going to be in May, 4 classes once a week for an hour. The first one will be teaching you how to write a food and mood diary, because if you don't understand what you eat impacts you and the feelings that you have. So just being aware of what you're eating is the first step, right? And we also talk about labs and about um, how to read labels and how to detect these things from your cabinet and throw out the foods that are killing you and start bringing fresh foods to your table. And how do you do that? It's not going to take forever. I have very good, easy recipes that I'm going to teach for all different cultures. And then the other classes will be one totally about anxiety, the foods that reduce anxiety, and also the lifestyle, like you said. It's all about changing your lifestyle, right? And going into exercise, meditation, gratitude, volunteering, and feeling good about your life, what you're doing, and not worrying so much about yourself. You know, when you go out there for others, you are making a big benefit to yourself. And the third class will be about depression, how to eliminate um, the symptoms of depression, which you can do. And I don't know if you guys know, but you know, there's a study with a herb called saffron. And saffron has the same effect as Prozac. They made a study, but it doesn't have the side effects. Plus, it helps you lose weight. So it's just so amazing that there are alternatives out there to reduce depression. Omega 3, like you said, super important. And the last would be about psychosis. And we're going to be talking about the gut brain because that's the microbiome. And the more you eat fermented foods, you know, and include in your plate fresh, colorful veggies and fruits, you'll get better very fast. So if you guys want to know, I have some flyers and I can distribute to you. And I hope you all can do it. It's an online class. And I my nonprofit, I am located in Los Angeles. So anybody you know who's in town and wants to invite, because we can do this not only online, but we can do it for organizations, we can do for hospitals, we can teach mental health professionals or health professionals in general all these very easy things that you can change in your day-to-day diet and meal planning, and come to a real vibrant life. That's what we're here for. We're here to have energy every day and feel good about living. You know, last words, Tracy.
Wow. I've learned so much from you guys in the last 24 hours. It's not even funny. So follow these guys because they're awesome. Um, just mirroring what I said before, be good to each other, realize that people need people, realize that there's people among you that you may not know are struggling or just need you to say, hi, how are you doing? It's good to see you today. Just simple little comments go a long way. Um, Real quick, there's a gentleman named Kevin Hines who tried to end his life 20 years ago. And he tells the story about he jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge and he lived. He's like one of the 0.2% that ever survived that. And he speaks on his recovery and he says that if he would have been on the bus that day going down to the bridge and just one person would have said, how are you?
Mm,
He would have stopped.
mm,
And that was his, negotiation basically with himself. If one person asks me how I'm doing, then I'll know that's a sign that I should be here. And nobody did. And thus, his story. So it's really important that we connect with other people. And I know that has nothing to do with nutrition.
no,
But I just wanted to
have a meal with
sure
another person.
have a
It's
meal
fun.
with another person and just,
And talk
today,
about it. Yeah,
right? Today, this week,
relax.
you're meeting new people here in the conference. Find somebody and just say, hey, can I, share a meal with you? And that might be something they need that day to get to the next day.
Actually has a lot to do if you know about the parasympathetic branch of the nervous system, autonomic nervous system. It's activated when we're in community and we get social support. And that is how we digest our food. Many of us are running around in fight or flight response and disconnected and feeling socially isolated. And we don't even produce the digestive enzymes or the hydrochloric acid that we need to digest our food and get the nutrients out of it. So being in community actually
Mm-hmm.
does help us use the food as medicine because it stimulates the parasympathetic branch of the nervous system in the vagal tone.
Yeah.
So it is connected, Tracy. It's all
There you go.
interconnected. Yes.
And um, um, it's important to also remember that some people live in the same house. We gave a lecture once at UCLA. A student came to me and says, I live with my mom, my dad, my grandmother, and my brother. We all eat separately in different hours because our time doesn't go, and we are either looking at the TV or the phone. And I said, and what do you eat? Well, she says, well, whatever, it's there. It's just like, and I says, what if you prepare something and invite everybody for a meal on Saturday? And she says, oh, I don't think that. I say, try it and call me, because it's important to have an accountability partner when you're starting something. And so she did call me. She says, I can't believe it. They all sat down and they ate and we talked, and it changed the dynamics of the family. And the isolation is not good. And food is a big merger, and so many cultures have this of sitting together, eating, and taking 1 hour to eat and have a talk. It's so important. So, anybody has a question? We have time for one
We
question.
do.
Yeah. Okay.
In front. Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I think, with suicide loss and your aunt, she's probably feeling guilty. She's probably feeling some shame. Thus, she doesn't feel worthy of even being healthy. So it's about, and with your clients, it's about reminding people that you're important, your life is important. You want to stay healthy, and have them find that thing within themselves, right, that keeps them going. And I would just emphasize that to them.
Actually, it's very similar to what Tracy's saying. I was going to say, I think your lowest hanging fruit is connected to purpose. Help her to find the why. We can tell everybody what to do, give advice, give solutions, but sometimes that actually just increases their cortisol levels. People want to be able to find, what is my meaning? What is my purpose? Why would I want to like have more energy? Why would I want to sleep better, feel better? What would be the reasons to be able to get down on the floor with my grandchildren or whatever? I really help people to dig deep, and find out, even to explore their purpose. Like, what are you doing here? Why are you in this earth suit? Why do you get up out of bed every day? That's incredibly um, uh, game shifting, even from a neurochemical level. There is a happiness trifecta that happens whenever we connect to our purpose and what drives us every day. But even the reason why she might want to make changes to her food, and her diet could be helpful, and maybe helping her to start really, really tiny, really small, because it can be overwhelming for people. I think getting people to change their dietary patterns is sometimes more challenging than if you wanted them to change their religion. Like it's like
And if
so.
you're already in an
Yeah.
overwhelmed spot,
And then if you're already,
Well,
yeah, stress driven.
when
Hmm.
I took my oldest son, the first he was in psychotic. I took him to a nutritionist, you know, and the first one he says, I don't want to work with that person. Okay, so I'm gonna try the second one. I tried the second one, and she was smart because he came over psychotic to talk to her. She wanted to make questions. She just says, what do you like to eat? She didn't start imposing all the knowledge that she had. She had patience. And I think patience and respect is a big one when you're trying to connect with any human being, you know. So he was into potatoes. He wanted to eat potatoes the whole day, you know. And she says, that's fine. That's fine. And next time he would come back and he was curious because she didn't push. He says, well, do you have anything else that I can eat? She says, avocados. They'll go great with potatoes. So she knew he needed the healthy fats for his
Right.
brain and not the carbs. And then he says, okay. And slowly he started getting trust in that person. He loves her. And it's just like building his whole plate in a different manner, even when he was psychotic. That's what I'm saying. You can connect to people,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
That is so important. Thank you for your question.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we go. We're done.
Well done.
I didn't bring the clocks. I watched, so I don't.
Good.
Great job, ladies. Thank you so much for all of your perspective on that. Another round of applause for them. Some really great thought provoking ideas there. And now, oddly, I'm craving Cheetos, avocado, and pizza. Lunch is going to be coming up, guys, next. But first, my favorite part of each day, the awards, recognizing all of you. Now, we are going to first recognize our sponsors for being so supportive. Together with their backing, we're empowered to challenge the status quo and drive meaningful change. Thank you for being the backbone of this endeavor. And thank you for helping us turn visionary ideas into reality. Now, please put your hands together and join me as I invite Vincent W. Allen, founder and managing director at Valve Industries. He's going to be on stage to present the certificates to our STEAM sponsors. Thank you. Welcome. I like to call your position Vanna White, so thank you for being here. Why not? Why not, right? We're in Vegas. So let's first call our platinum sponsor, Christopher Saburin, CEO of Flow Patterns, and Dr. Marion J. Zanuck, CEO and founder of Zaniz Health and Fitness, our bronze sponsors. Coming up, guys. Going once, going twice. I know Dr. Zanuck's here. We heard from her earlier. Well, all right, we will give them another shout out later, and we will move on then to our award show. We are going to be celebrating you, the industry's trendsetters, for your exceptional commitment to making a difference in healthcare. And again, Mr. Vincent W. Allen, my Vanna White, is going to be doing the honors. So thank you for that. All right, Julian, time to cue some award music. What do we got this year? Last year, it was literally the soundtrack from Jurassic Park. It made for some very interesting award show, let me tell you. Okay, this is good, from what I heard. Are we ready, team? It looks like we are ready to go. All right. Well, when you hear your name, please don't be shy. Come on up. I've got this great bio I'm reading on each of you, and I apologize in advance if I do butcher your names. I promise I don't mean to. Our first award, the Health 2.0 Conference Outstanding Leadership Award, is going to Dr. Ashley Franklin. Please come on up. Ashley Franklin, PhD, RN, CNE, CHSEA, is President-elect of the International Nursing Association for Clinical Simulation and Learning and the Rankin Professor of Nursing at Texas Christian University. Ashley's 15 years of simulation experience inform research, education, and practice guidelines for nurses and interprofessional healthcare teams. Ashley's expertise lies in improving patient safety through research-led simulation training for healthcare professionals. Great job. Our next award goes to Common Courtesy Inc. This is the award, Health 2.0 Conference Outstanding Organization Award. And here to accept that award is Bob Carr. There he is. Oh, the more the merrier. Come on up. Bob and Ann Carr founded Common Courtesy in 2006 after witnessing a near-miss fatal accident in a parking lot involving an elderly driver. The organization offers a dependable system of personal transportation to individuals who need flexible route transportation. Lovely. And of course, guys, we do have our photographer that's going to be taking pictures for you. Our next award goes to Brian J. Bauer, Health 2.0 Conference Outstanding Leadership Award. Brian J. Bauer is the founder and executive director of Abundance Foundation, Inc., which provides a safe haven to people who have nowhere else to turn. In 2022 and 2023, he opened men's and women's houses in Fort Collins, Colorado, and the organization continues to expand from there. Our next award for the outstanding leadership goes to Candace Butler. Candace Butler brings with over 25 years of healthcare industry experience and was a presenter at the 2023 AAPPR Association for Advancing Physician and Provider Recruitment Conference, which was held in Austin, Texas. Additionally, Candace is a published author, motivational speaker, life coach, multi business owner, mentor, activist advocate, brand ambassador, and social media influencer. Congratulations. Moving right along, our next award for outstanding leadership goes to Cassandra Rula. Cassandra is the executive director of Paramount Wellness Retreat. She has dedicated her career to the fields of mental health and substance abuse and has showcased a remarkable journey of professional growth and leadership. She excels in her clinical expertise and thrives in leadership roles, and her professional journey exemplifies her focus, drive, and perseverance. Guys, we will be getting in touch with you, of course, to receive your pictures and, friends, you're more than welcome to take pictures for your friends. I'm sure they'd all appreciate it. And don't forget to tag us on LinkedIn, hashtag health2CONF. And hey, tag all your family and friends too, so they can share in all of your achievements if they're not able to be here at this time. Our next award for outstanding leadership goes to Daniel Wagner. Dan is the Chief Commercial Officer of Spark Biomedical Inc. Dan has spent nearly 10 years leading international sales operations covering the Americas for Olympus Corporation and development of cutting edge technology. Today, Dan brings decades of medical technology experience to undeserved disease states through minimally invasive technologies to transform human lives. Thank you for all you do. Guys, I gotta be honest, I'm really gonna have to go home and sharpen up my resume. You guys are just making me feel like I need to do that. No, it's so great to celebrate this out with you all. Our next award goes to, for outstanding leadership, Darlene Froberg. Darlene. Darlene is the owner and clinician of the Pain Clinic, laser therapy for pain and wounds. She has worked as a registered nurse for over 36 years, primarily in education, geriatrics, and home care. She likes to think outside the box and always looks for ways to improve and advance nursing practice. Very good. Congratulations, Darlene. Our next award for outstanding leadership goes to Devaki Thavarja. Devaki. All right. Independent volunteer within the field of data transparency at FPHUSC, Devaki has worked with pharmaceutical companies and members of the research and healthcare community globally to help meet their clinical trial transparency and disclosure requirements. She has spent 10 years of experience with the pharmaceutical and healthcare industry. Devaki also had exposure to governmental sector data, sharing and identifying and implementing process improvements during the critical transitionary period of organizational change for the UK's Public Health Reform Initiative. Fantastic. Our next award for outstanding leadership goes to Divyang Seth. Divyang. That's a fun name. Here I got stuck with boring old Melissa. Div Yang is the co-founder and the chief technology officer at Gabio. He brings his substantial role background with 12 years of experience at Google, where he served as the former global head of cloud engineering products and services. His current role at Gabio highlights his significant contributions to the tech industry, particularly in the areas of cloud engineering, AI, and machine learning. Our next award goes to, for outstanding leadership, Dr. Jasmine Burns. Dr. Jasmine Burns is the owner, founder, CEO, and licensed psychologist at Burns Virtual Psychological Solutions. Dr. Burns is deeply passionate about the intersection of developmental psychology and mental health, with a particular focus on neurodivergence, trauma, and mental health disorders. Congratulations. Our next award for outstanding leadership goes to Frederick Jest. Frederick. Patrick is the CEO of Healthcare Environment Institute, LLC, having 40 plus years of overseeing hospitals, multidisciplinary strategic planning, expansion, construction, and operations within complex multi facility health systems. Fred served as a senior consultant as an international consulting firm. Whole lot of good stuff there. Our next award, also for outstanding leadership, goes to Gaurav Bandari. Come on up. Going once, going twice. Okay, we forgive them if they're gambling. They're in Vegas, right? We forgive them. We'll make sure we send it to them. Our next award for outstanding leadership goes to Gopi Krishna Deshpande. Please come on up. Gaurav is the Senior Vice President of the Direct Investments Division. Oh, I'm so sorry. Gopis Krishna is a professor of electrical and computer engineering and heads neuroimaging activities at the AU MRI Research Center at Auburn University, USA. Doctor is also an affiliated faculty at the Department of Psychology, Center for Health Ecology and Equity Research, and Center for Neuroscience at Auburn University. Fantastic. Our next award is for the Conference Visionaries Award. This goes to Hanuman Jampani. Hanuman. Hanuman is the founding president of Samrus International, LLC. Dr. Jampani has 30 years of extensive national and international leadership experience with accountable roles in global franchises, global marketing, and new product development. He worked at multiple divisions of the Johnson & Johnson family of companies, Baxter Healthcare, and Integra Life Sciences. Our next award for outstanding leadership goes to Dr. Jeremy Manuel. Dr. Jeremy. Going once, going twice. We've got another gambler. We'll send it to them. What was that? Hey, I hope they win. Our next award goes to, for outstanding leadership, Dr. John Machado. Dr. John, please come on up. Dr. John is the Chief Medical Officer of Montreal West Island Integrated Health and Social Services University Network. With over 20 years of domain knowledge and cross-functional expertise in healthcare, management, and innovation, he was focused on continuous quality improvement and leadership development. And Dr. John is not here. Well, let him know that he got a great little shout out there. Moving right along, our next award for outstanding leadership goes to Kia Gupta. Kia Gupta, please come on up. Another one for the good old USPS. Our next award for Conference Visionaries Award goes to Lacey's Heart. Lacey. Our next award for outstanding leadership goes to Nick Singleton. Nick. Okay, clearly there's a party that we all missed the memo to. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Our next award for outstanding leadership goes to Ophelia Ing. Ophelia. Yes, she's here. Coming from the back. Ophelia is the Director of Community Outreach at Garfield Health Center. With 5 years of experience in the healthcare industry and 7 years in marketing, she brings a unique blend of skills and passion to her role. Her career path has been driven by a genuine commitment to promoting citizens' welfare and expanding awareness of organizational missions. Round of applause. Our next award for outstanding leadership goes to Professor Pamela J. Brown. Please come on up. She is the vice president and head of the people and culture division at Crunch Fitness. She is a dynamic leader with a steadfast commitment to advancing culture and inclusion. She also plays a pivotal role in organizational success through strategic talent alignment and development. Her focus includes attracting, engaging, and nurturing team members while fostering a high performance culture. I like it. Round of applause. Our next award for Conference Outstanding Leadership, I should say, sorry, the Health 2.0 Conference, also Outstanding Leadership, goes to Randy Sue Deckard. Randy Sue. Randy is the SVP of Client Engagement at Bestler. She aligns high performing teams with the corporate vision, forges value add partnerships at all organizational levels, and delivers tactical roadmaps to unlock business value. Over the past 15 years, she has influenced over 100 million in revenue in life sciences, technology, and revenue cycle management. And of course, guys, do not be shy. One of the main reasons we are here, besides all the wonderfulness, is to network. So if you want to start a conversation up, be sure to do so during the breaks. And of course, we have lunch coming up right after this. Our next award for outstanding leadership goes to Samyata Saxena. Samyata. Samyata is the CEO and founder of the Garden Recipe and the Garden Pooch. Having worked in top cancer research institutes, oncology, and also being a cancer survivor herself, she realized that people need a more wholesome and holistic approach to healing from cancer or any disease at the root level. Through the Garden Pooch, she teaches dog owners about holistic dog care tips, the benefits of a vegan diet, and cancer disease prevention for dogs. Round of applause. Our next award for Young Leadership Award goes to Sarithya Desari. Sarithya, please come on up. Sarithya is the executive director of Project No Bound. She works closely with international community partners on global health projects and has implemented an EHR and AI-powered solution for information dissemination in the Argentinian rural health systems. Her work and research have been recognized by Regeneron, the American College of Cardiology, and the Alzheimer's Association, among many other outlets. Look at all of these amazing people that we're all surrounded by today. You guys all have such an interesting story and background. So again, I applaud you all and encourage you just to get to know each other while you're here. Our next award for outstanding leadership goes to Suchita Sanjay. Suchita. She went to lunch early, didn't she? I'm not mad at her. Our next award for Visionaries Award goes to Dr. Todd Marquise. Dr. Todd. All right. Dr. Todd is the founder and clinic director of Restore Family Chiropractic, a self proclaimed big picture entrepreneur. His vision is to provide solutions for everyone in Central Ohio to receive the holistic care they deserve. Now a survivor of advanced heart failure, Dr. Marquise teaches the body's innate power through natural means, free form interference. Ooh. Free from interference. Round of applause. Our next award for outstanding leadership goes to Venkata Dinesh Reddy Kali. Venkata, please come up. Venkata is the Senior Systems Analyst at Medtronic. His commitment to knowledge sharing and education is evident in their scholarly contributions. His goal is to ensure a broader impact beyond their immediate professional circle. Thank you so much for all you do. And just a couple awards left to round out our first award session for the day. Our next award is for Outstanding Leadership for Veronica Tess Myers. Veronica. Veronica is the founding president and CEO of Alexander's Secret Incorporated. Veronica's most fulfilling accomplishments are caring for her autistic son and sharing her challenges when engaging with taxpayer-funded agencies that are financially exploited by those in political authority. Veronica says her goal is to bring power to the truth. In doing so, she has to speak that truth to those who hold the power. Well said. And last but definitely not least, our award for outstanding leadership goes to Vipul Patel. Vipul, please come on up. Vipul is the principal and CEO of Perite Pharmacists Incorporated with a robust background in global sourcing, vendor management, and analytical evaluation. Vipul has enhanced supply chain effectiveness. His track record includes spearheading the growth of a leading Canadian generic pharmaceuticals company, earning them the prestigious Canada's Best Managed Companies Award 4 times consecutively. A round of applause for everybody. Congratulations to each and every one of you. In the upcoming years, we are confident that we will hear even more about your numerous accomplishments and ambitious projects. And of course, you're all going to come back to the next conference, right? You're going to get signed up for the next one, maybe even in Dubai. So we're going to hear updates from all of you. Ha ha ha. And now, guys, it's break time. Enjoy your lunch, explore the delightful offerings we've arranged for you, and of course, be sure to share all of your favorite moments using the hashtag Health2Com. While you're networking, don't miss the chance to step into the future with us. Swing by the 2.0 conferences booth next to our registration desk to get the inside scoop on our future conferences, December 2024 and April 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy lunch. We will see you back here sharp at 1:05. And here's our lunchroom. Have a great time.